Okay. So I don't really have a structured plan to talk through this, but I thought it was cool and I wanted to share it with you guys. So back in February, I had a viewer reach out to me who wanted to share a tool that he was working on. His name is Patrick. He is a player from the EU server, and he's from Germany. And his name, I'm going to try to pronounce it as German as I can. Uh, oh shit! I had practiced this earlier. And so I actually here. Let me tell you a story about how this happened. I said, "Hey, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Energetiker? Because that's what it looks like." He's like, "No, that's fine if you want to pronounce it like an American." And I was like, "Oh no, 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 no! I need you to say it for me with a German accent so I can say it correctly." And I think he said it was Energetiker, Energetiker. And anyway he plays on EU. I wrote it down on a card. He plays on EU, and he was trying to understand the best way that he could optimize his research bureau resets. And he came up with this really cool spreadsheet, and he sent me a draft of it. He said, "Hey, I'm working on this. What do you think? Is this something that you'd like to share with your community?" He said, "I started making it for me, and I thought it was kind of useful, so I shared it with my clan, and they thought it was kind of useful, so I thought I would share it with you." Um, and so and then I forgot about it for 2 months. And I was looking at some messages on my Discord today, and I sent him, and I saw it there, and I downloaded the spreadsheet, and I started playing with it, and I started talking with Energetiker, and we talked through it a little bit, and I actually got him on Discord, and we chatted about it today on voice, and he kind of showed me, he's like, "I got a new version. You don't want that old version from 2 months ago." So he sent me a new version, and what I want to do is share this with you guys. So it's pretty cool. I think this is it. Here it is. So this is the spreadsheet, and you guys can see it behind me. I'm gonna crunch this window so I can see chat a little bit. And what it does is it calculates the total cost in both credits and XP of your research bureau reset based on a bunch of settings that you can make. So first of all, I feel like Energetico did a really good job putting this together. He's got some rules up here that say don't do this because it won't work. He says what is it for, which is right here. He's got a disclaimer that says, "Look, man, I'm not going to promise to update this for the rest of eternity." And he gives some rules in here that says this doesn't take into account clan discounts, things like that. And then he explains here how to do it. And then he's got another tab for all of the lookup data, and he explains if you want to add another line of ships, maybe you don't have all of the ships in here, and Wargaming comes out with a new line of ships, he explains how to add a new line of ships. But let me just show you how to use it. So basically, up here at the top, it gives you a total cost. And this is really cool. I cannot stress how neat I think this is. So first thing, everything here has drop downs. The only boxes you want to edit are the orange ones. Everything else auto-populates. And what's really cool about this, and I told him this on the phone today when I was playing with this, I said, "Hey man, what's really cool is I made a video about the Research Bureau a long time ago, and I talked about how expensive it is, and I did a bunch of calculations, and I did a bunch of math. But what I didn't do is I didn't build a tool that let people recalculate that data over and over again. I didn't make it easier for you guys to do the math yourselves and understand things. I just did the math once for me, and then I wrote a script and put a video together." What this does, and what's so cool about what's here, is that this sets you guys up in order to actually be able to do all of this calculation yourselves. And so you can basically come in here and set things up. So here's basically what you do. If you want to do a reset, you come in here and you click on this box and you choose the ship line that you're going to reset. Can you guys see? You can't see my... Actually, maybe you can. I gotta wait for the stream to catch up. No, you can't. Oh, that's a bummer. You can't see my drop-down list, but basically there's a drop-down list that shows all the ships, all the tech lines, and that has to do with the way screen capture works. But if I wanted to choose Japanese gunboats, now it says Japanese gunboats, and it populates all of these ships over here and how much all of them cost and how much all of the XP costs. And it's actually really, really cool. In fact, let me change the title of this spreadsheet, or of the stream. A new spreadsheet. Research Bureau calculations spreadsheet. By the way, I'm going to make this spreadsheet available to you. I got Energetiker's permission to do that, and I will share it with you. Katsios, yes, this does basically do what Fitting Tool used to do for you, but a little bit more. Okay, so then right here you choose if it's a 2x reset or not. Let's say it is. I'm going to say yes, it's a 2x reset. So what that tells you is you're going to get 20,400 research points. And then you can come through here and you answer these questions. Actually, it's best to do them in rows across the lines. For Chikuma, is the old ship refunded? In other words, that means do you have the ship and you're going to sell it? For me, the answer is no. Are the old mandatory modules refunded? In other words, did you own the mandatory modules? No. Are the old optional modules refunded? No. And that's because I don't own the Chikuma. For me, that's not going to happen. So I'm going to come along here. For Umikaze, I do own the Umikaze. So I can say, yes, I'm going to sell that ship. Yes, I have the mandatory. And yes, I have the optional modules. I don't own the Wakataki, so I can put no's in each of those. The reason this says none is because sometimes there might be another ship on the line depending on your line. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go back to, actually I can press this button. I'm going to go to a tech line, or tech tree line. You go to Japan. You can take a look at this line. And so if you're going to try to do the Haragumo line, for example, it's going to go through Hashidate, Chikuma, and Umikaze, and so on and so forth. So that one is just an empty ship because some line somewhere has a thing that you need to do there. Like maybe US battleships, for example. You might have to play Colorado. Well, actually, that one doesn't do it either. But anyway, that's why that one's blank, is some line somewhere requires that column. So that's not a ship. That doesn't matter. We can skip that one. Isakaze, I don't own Isakaze either. And then I do own Minakaze. I do own Atsuharu, and it's fully upgraded. I have Shiratsuyu, it's fully upgraded. I have Akazuki, it's fully upgraded. I have Kitakaze, it's fully upgraded. And I have Haragumo, but I don't have the optional torpedoes. So I'm going to put a no in this box. Okay. Now, what has that done for me? Well, it's calculated. These are all the refunds that I'm going to get. In other words, I'm going to get 32 million credits back by selling all of that. Here's the free XP. This spreadsheet assumes, oh, hang on, let me go back to my sheet. Sorry, guys. This spreadsheet assumes so hang on real quick. What I've done is I filled out all of these orange boxes in this section. And now that's calculated these values, which tells me that my total credit refund is going to be this much. Thanks, Disc. I just sorted it out. I apologize. And that shows you up here your total credits coming back to you right here. So now it's talking about this section, which is about free XP. This spreadsheet assumes that you're always going to be filling it out with free XP. So Chikuma, because your tier 1 ship has tons of XP on it by the time you get here, you're not going to need to use XP to do that. Umikaze, we're going to do the research ship and the mandatory modules only. Actually, yes and yes. We're not going to do any optional modules. And I'll tell you why in a second. We're going to do these and no. We're going to do the mandatory and the mandatory modules on the ship. And then starting at Minakaze, I'm going to do them all because I like these ships to be fully upgraded. That's me. That's the way that I do it. Oops, that's not the right value. Put a T in instead of a Y, and 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 a Y. But I'm not going to do the optional modules on Haragumo because I don't usually get the optional torpedoes at Haragumo. And then it says here, are you going to buy the ship back? That's what this. So first of all, that calculated all the free XPs. So this tells me how much free XP I'm going to need, basically by summing up everything that we had, ship by ship, everything. Then down here it says, are you going to buy the ship back? And I am not going to buy the Chikuma because I don't care about it. And I am going to buy the Umikaze because I love that boat even though I never play it. I'm not going to buy the Wakataki. I'm not going to buy the Isakaze. I am going to buy the Minakaze, and I'm going to buy everything for it. I'm going to buy all the optional modules because I'm a sucker and I have to have them. And I keep going like this. And let's say I'm going to buy all the optional modules. Well, I'm not going to buy the optional modules for Haragumo. So now that I've got all this sorted out, it tells me everything. Well, what if I wanted to do a 3x reset? So now what I would do is I'd scroll down here and I'd say it's not a 2x reset, and I would do kind of the same things. Well, now actually that's a problem, right? Because I've said I'm going to buy all this stuff. Well, if I'm doing a 3x reset, I don't want to buy anything. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to make all these say no, because we're not going to buy anything until we're done doing the resetting. If that makes sense. I hope it does. Hopefully you guys know a little bit about how the Research Bureau works. And then you can come down here. All the old ships are not going to be refunded because I didn't buy them, right? If I bought them up here, they'd be refunded, but I'm not going to buy them. So then we come in here to the research stuff. I'm going to have to research only the required things. And so we will say, we'll do the ship and the requireds. Oops, those are going to be yeses. Let's just do that across the board here. And that's pretty cool. And so what that's going to do is... Oh, I didn't choose my line. I got to choose Japanese line again. Japanese gunboats. Here it is. So that gives us another 10,200 XP. Am I going to buy the ship back? I haven't committed to buying the ship back. And what you can effectively do is go through this thing. Yeah, thanks, Pat. You're exactly right. Come through here and put it all together. And then what you've got here at the top is your total costs and your total gains. It's going to cost me, well, I haven't bought any ships yet back, so I should set my ships that I'm going to buy. So let's say I'm going to buy these guys. We're not going to buy Wakataki. We are going to buy Minakaze. We are going to buy Hatsuharu. We are going to buy Shiratsuyu and Kira and Haragumo, right? And so that tells me that's what my total costs are going to be to do a 3x reset. So that's 30,600 research points gained. It's going to cost me this much free XP, and it's going to cost me this many credits. Now, the other thing I could do is I could say, boy, that's a lot of credits, or that's a lot of free XP. I don't have that much free XP. I do have this many credits. So maybe what I'll do is I'll come down here and I'll say, you know what? I'm not going to free XP the last two ships. I'm going to play those ones. What does that do? I can scroll up here. Yeah, I can afford that. That's 1,000,000 free XP, right? Because I chose to play those two ships. Or what if I wait until this is a 2x and I turn this into a 2x? Now I can see that for the same cost, I'm going to get 40,800 XP. Katsuyo says, make a new spreadsheet and name it Will I Get Kitakami? Have 4 boxes to input your resources, and in the end it tells you better luck next year. I actually made that spreadsheet as well. It's not very complicated. This spreadsheet's really powerful though, and I do think it's really interesting because you can tweak and change a lot of things in it and understand what's going on, and it supports all of the different lines, right? So if you change this for, Japanese light cruisers, it changes all the values, and now they're different up here. Obviously, you'd want these to match if you're going to do Japanese light cruisers for both. And it's and it lets you understand that. So there's a lot of people who don't want to do Haragumo over and over again. They get bored and they like to play through all of the ships. You can totally do that. It's actually really, really neat. It's very well designed and it's very easy to use. I do think that this tool is not going to be for every single person in the world, but I do think that some folks are going to get a lot of interesting value out of it. So what I did was I went and I added a channel, a text channel in the Clyde Plays Discord. Let me actually go make that public now. Where did I put it? Here we go. There we go. I think that should be public now. There you go. It's under the tools section in the Clyde Plays Discord. If you guys want to play with this a little bit yourself, you can go to the Clyde Plays Discord. There's a section in the tools section of channels called Tool Index. And in there, I've put links to this spreadsheet where you can just download it directly. And I've got a link to the hot take spreadsheet, which also includes information for upcoming premium and techline ships that are not yet released, as well as the commander spreadsheet link that you guys already probably know about. That's really the overview that I wanted to give. I think that if you start playing with this, you might find some ways that you can actually customize your resets a little bit more, where you can choose which ships you're going to grind, which ships you're going to research, and things like that. So spend some time with it if you guys are interested. I do think it's a pretty slick little gadget, and it definitely shows some care and some thought. Now, again, I cannot pronounce your name, Mr. Patrick. Energetica has talked about, hey, I'm not going to make updates to this spreadsheet. I'm not going to support this forever. I'm not going to tell you guys how to do it. I am going to tell you guys how to do it. On this page, there's instructions for adding new lines as they come out. And he has a YouTube video, which I added to this cell up here at the top, right here, where you can watch. And he's got a nice explanation of the spreadsheet that goes into more depth and more detail than I was able to do for you guys tonight, that I think you might find interesting to watch if you decide this tool is for you. So definitely check it out if you're interested, and I will make it available. I already have made it available to you guys over in the Clyde Plays Discord if you would like to review it yourself. And that is pretty much all I have to say. Kitakaze is a great boat, Hujam. Nobody gets bored playing Kita. They might get bored playing Akazuki, though. Maybe not. Jimbo wants to know...